You're listening to the 12 Days of Crusademas 2024, brought to you by the Longbox Crusade.
Nightwings are winging.
Hello and welcome to the 8th day of the 12 Days of Crusademas for 2024, brought to you by the Longbox Crusade. The 12 Days of Crusademas is our gift to the podcast community to celebrate the holiday season. And we're celebrating this joyous season by sharing with you some comic book titles that may have gotten by you in the past. Each day of the 12 Days of Crusademas will bring you a hidden gem of a comic series, brought to you either by one of our holly jolly co-hosts or one of our podcast celebrity guests, or even a special one today as it's one of our Crusader Club members. But before we get started, let's go ahead and introduce who we have with us on this 8th day of the 12 Days of Crusademas. Joining me, as always, around this festively decorated place that I did all by myself this year. No help from anybody else. No help at all. So I hope you're all enjoying it. I'm a couple days ahead. I've still got a few more things to do, some lights and all that, but we'll get to it. But I wanted to just bring these other 3 guys in, 3 out of the 8 maids of milking. I'm going to tell them to stop milking right now and come in and help us do this, because they didn't want to do lights, so at least I could have them do something with their hands. Anyway, let's go ahead and introduce the Christmas Probe, Jared, the yard sale artist.
Hey, Pat. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm ready to put up lights, but looks like they're done. That's a shame. So I'll tell you a Christmas joke. I know you want one.
I do.
All right. So Scrooge, from the Christmas Carol, the classic story, goes to meet Santa Claus at North Pole. And Santa Claus is showing him around. He's showing him the reindeer pins. And he's like, I got a few reindeer that I'm going to retire. Lesser known ones. He's like, this is Stephen and Gary and Gene. I'm going to retire those 3. I'm going to put them out to pasture. And Scrooge's like, well, I'll take them. And Santa's like, what do you want with retired reindeer? He's like, I'm Scrooge. I'm always trying to save a few bucks. Merry Christmas!
That wasn't bad. That was pretty, I was reflexively ready to be like, I hate it.
God bless us, everyone.
What day is it?
Well, that's all I got. Merry Christmas, Pat.
That was actually, 7 days and not a bad one so far. So
get the ratio kind of better.
Yeah, it's getting better. Speaking about getting better, let's go ahead and introduce the Christmas Dark Web Probe. Oh no, the Christmas.
He's part of my family now.
Yes. Too many names for this guy. The Christmas Web, Delvin, the Dark Web Williams. Merry Christmas, Delvin.
Merry Christmas, Pat. So for everybody, I figure you guys might be hungry. So took some wings, I marinated them in some Guinness and covered them after I seasoned it with some coffee grounds, for extra flavor. They're going to come out a little bit dark. So, I'm calling them night. You know what? Never mind. I'm just going to bail on the joke before I finish it. Back to you, Pat.
Try to save a few bucks.
Yes.
They're night wings.
Night wings, yes.
Tasty.
Yes. Why does it got a little hair in it? It's like it's got a little ponytail on it.
I cut that off.
It's getting in the way anyway.
Hey, Delvin, good job hanging up those lights, by the way. They look good.
Thanks, dude. Man, I appreciate that. You just put in a lot of hard work, you see, and sweat, and have Pat do it, and everything turns out okay.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I know you've been struggling with that fountain, trying to get that to work again, Delvin. So hopefully I ordered some pills for you to get that fountain working.
The older you get, the harder it is to talk.
But anyway.
Chocolate fountain still works. What are you talking about?
Let's go ahead and say Merry Christmas to the Christmas Weasel Skull. Jason, how are you? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Pat. Merry Christmas, everyone. I was going to tell a joke, but Treetop Tommy swung by. He wanted to know if he could come in and give us our Christmas gifts a little bit early. So that's all right with everyone.
Yeah,
Treetop Tommy, come on in. Oh man, it was really, it was windy out there, and hold on, I'm really shaky. Oh, okay. All right, Jared, here.
What's up,
I
Tom?
got you some jerky.
Oh, thanks.
It's a little gamey.
It's made of Ewoks, isn't
It's
it?
Ewok, yes, it's Ewok.
Still delicious. Yum.
You gotta eat what you can get up there. You guys forget about me for days and weeks sometimes. I got to survive. Delvin.
Yes, Treetop Tommy. Yeah.
Here's a jar of Ewok pee. Now, I know this might sound gross, but if you're ever out amongst the Ewoks and you're camping or something, you just spread it around in a circle, and it'll keep the Ewoks away. And you want to keep those Ewoks away, Delvin. You want to keep the Ewoks away.
I'll keep that in mind.
They fling the poo. That's what I want to say.
Poo flingers. Got it.
Pat.
Yes,
Pat,
Tommy. Yeah.
My friend. Number one, a Weasel Skull said that you would decorate my tower up there. I don't have any lights, so
Oh, yeah.
you need to get up there with the lights. But it's windy and it's cold, so I got you a fur coat. Fur coat.
I bet I know what it's made of.
What? Yeah.
It's the color of low gray.
Oh,
Because it's low gray.
Oh.
Anyway, I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I'm going to get back up top and do my job, because when I come down, them X-Wing fighters be speeding.
Yeah.
They be speeding. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Tommy, on your way up, can you take these lights with you and put them up there?
Your job. My job is to slow those X-Wing fighters down. Safety. 200 days since our last accident with Treetop Tommy on the job.
That's true. We haven't had any run-ins with HR. In fact, I don't think we've had many run-ins with the HR department.
Almost like she doesn't work here.
Yeah, she's never showed up.
Tommy, watch out to make sure you let me know when Laurel drives by.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Hey, fun fact, Pat. Did you know that one of the Ewoks joined Public Enemy?
I did not.
They're like, hear the drummer get wicked.
That's
That's for you, Pat. Merry Christmas.
Ooh, I don't know if I like that one better or save a few bucks. Wow.
I'm writing jokes only for Pat at this point.
You're on a roll. Wow. Well, speaking about being on a roll, let's go ahead and introduce our guest for today. It is Crusader Club member Gene Hendricks. Welcome to Longbox Crusade. Merry Christmas, Gene, and thank you for joining us for day 8.
Oh, thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas all. Pat, I was going to bring those extra decorations that you asked for, but I'm afraid Axel thought his rawhide was in there and kind of just went nuts. And how do you feel about 3 gallons of confetti?
Well, you know what? I don't mind, because we can, Gene, if you can bring that for the New Year's party, that'll be great.
All right. Waste not, want not. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Good thinking of you, Gene. What else have you brought with us in that stocking there that you have?
Oh, well, as you heard in the singing intro today, 8 Nightwings a-winging means that we are unwrapping a Nightwing #1 from DC Comics. Now, let me give you a brief history of this book here. For those of you that may have been living under a rock for the past 40 years, Nightwing is Dick Grayson, the original Robin. He got his own identity in the pages of New Teen Titans because the Batman office said, hey, you can't use Robin anymore. So they changed his identity, that of Nightwing. And he was guest starring with Batman and Teen Titans and other books. But then in the 90s, they decided, hey, we're going to give him a one shot, see how it works. That would be Nightwing Alfred's Return. Apparently, he did pretty good, because then he got a 4-issue miniseries where he got his snazzy new costume. And that did pretty good. So they decided, you know what? We're going to put the best Bat writer in the 90s on it, Mr. Chuck Dixon, and he's going to get an ongoing series. Now, with Mr. Dixon, we also have the art Scott McDaniel. Now, he was previously doing all his work at Marvel, mainly on Daredevil, and he came over to DC for this. And then inking McDaniel's pencils would be Mr. Carl Story. Now, he worked at Dark Horse, Marvel, DC, and Image, but he was mainly doing DC's Legion books at the time that he got onto this. And those three were on the book for quite a while, and it happens to be one of my favorite series from DC. Now, why is that, you ask? Why do I like this series?
Why do you like it, Gene?
Oh, thank you, Jared. The main reason I like it is Nightwing, if you look at all the different sidekicks out there, right? He's the only one that fulfilled the promise. He didn't become the next iteration of Batman. He became his own hero. He got trained up, became his own man, moved out on his own, and works alongside his mentor. Didn't replace him. It's not a Wally West thing where someone says, we really want Barry Allen back. Wally, get the hell out of here. Dick Grayson's always been there, and he helps mentor the newer Robins. In fact, in this series, he meets up with Tim Drake quite a bit. And he's like that middle ground, right? You have Batman, the old school hero. You have the new Robins coming in, some of the new younger heroes, and he's the mid guy. He in the middle. He can relate to both ends of the spectrum here. And the way Dixon writes him, it's just a joy to read his personality and how he interacts with everyone. So have any of you read Nightwing before? Pat, have you been exposed to this series?
I think I've only read maybe one or two, and it's been quite a long time. It was probably during the crossovers with like Cataclysm and that kind of when that series was going on, because you had to get the parts to make the story all put together. So it has been a long time since I've read Nightwing.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's how they get you. Same story in all these different books you have to pick up. Jared, how about you? You read Nightwing before?
Oh, hell yes. Just in case you guys missed my hardcover, hardbound version from Omaha Bound earlier, I'm showing it to the guys. It doesn't help you out in podcasts necessarily, but it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I got on the... Shut up, Delvin, you shut up! he didn't even come off mute. I saw him winding up. No, Delvin and I were in college when this book launched, and it probably just was really serendipitous timing because I just got back into the books, and I was really enjoying the Bat books. As you said, Chuck Dixon kind of owned that universe hardcore for several years there in the late 90s into the 2000s. And yeah, absolutely got on board with Nightwing. Absolutely blew me away. Loved it for all the reasons you just mentioned. And 12 candy canes. Are we done?
Not quite, but right. Delvin, why don't we move on to you, since Jared kind of tipped his hand there a little bit. Have you been exposed to Nightwing before?
Well, he implicated me in his story, right? So I don't know when I jumped aboard the Nightwing train, but I have been a fan of Nightwings for a very long time. Have read this series, went away from it for a while, but picked up the Tom Taylor version of Nightwing that's going on now, which is amazing. So yes, I have read this. I'm definitely not new to Dick Grayson at all.
All right, and rounding us out, Jason, how about you? Did you steal any of Jared's issues and read them?
Yeah, actually I did. When Jared was going to college at Auburn, Alabama, I was stationed in Atlanta. So on more than one occasion, I drove down to visit, and he would leave some Nightwing comics lying around. I'd pick them up and read them. Really enjoyable. I remember really liking them. More recently, Walmart came out with those collected editions of the Bat books, and they had some Nightwing series in there. So I dabbled in that a little bit. So yeah, I'm a dabbler in Nightwing, and I've always enjoyed whatever I've picked up.
All right. Sounds like we have a good basis for this issue, which is excellent. Now, speaking of this issue, I'll give you a quick summary and see where we're at. So, like I said, this is Nightwing issue number 1. It came out cover date of October 1996. Makes it on sale on August 7th of 1996. I was also in college at that time. Writer Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel, Inker Carl Story, letterer John Costanza, colorist Roberta Tooze, editor Scott Peterson, and the cover, looking very nice, is done by Scott McDaniel and Scott Hanna. Now, on said cover, we have Nightwing standing in what looks like an alley with about 5 inches of water in it. He's in a battle stance, holding his Eskrima sticks, while there are 3 people lying unconscious around him. Inside, we have a splash page with our title, Child of Justice. Nightwing is underwater below a pier. He is floating with a briefcase-looking thing in his left hand, while his right is handcuffed to a refrigerator on the bottom of the bay. As our hero goes over just how horrible his predicament is, we flash back to when Batman brought him into the morgue, containing 21 dead men. All these men died from broken necks and were members of the Angel Marin gang. As these bodies floated north to Gotham, Batman needs someone to check out the city south of them. The city is Bludhaven, which Nightwing describes as worse than Gotham in a lot of ways. As Dick exits the bus, he saves a teen girl from being accosted by 2 lowlifes. Dick gives her money and his return bus ticket, letting her know that Wayne Corp should have a job for her. Just has to let them know that Dick sent her. He gets the lay of the land, and seeing the hopelessness in everyone there, eventually changes to his working clothes and swings to a mansion owned by a possible suspect, Freddie Min. As Nightwing arrives, a group of masked men, probably soldiers of Black Mask, are in a shootout with the Mins while loading a refrigerator onto the back of a truck. Mrs. Bin is shouting, "Stop them! They have my babies!" Nightwing does some amazing parkour and catches up with a speeding truck, intent on saving the kids trapped in the refrigerator. He convinces a delivery truck driver to chase the false facers, which does the driver no good as his windshield is shot out and he crashes. It's enough to get Nightwing close, though, and our hero knocks most of the gang for a loop. The fridge breaks loose, though, and as Nightwing attempts to keep it from falling off the back of the truck by holding onto the power cord, the fox-masked member of the gang swings the knife, cutting off Nightwing's ponytail, thankfully. The truck comes to a sudden stop, launching the fridge into most of the gang and letting Nightwing make short work of the remaining gang members. As he opens the fridge, Nightwing is shocked, I tell you, by the fact there's only a briefcase inside. His distraction is enough for Foxy to pistol whip him and knock him out. When Nightwing regains consciousness, he is handcuffed to the fridge, with the false facers gloating about stealing the frozen Min embryos. Nightwing kicks the case out of Foxy's hand, catching it just as the refrigerator is pushed off the truck and into the bay. This is where we came into the movie, and Nightwing uses a magnesium flare to cut through the fridge's handle, allowing him to get to the surface and breathe. As Nightwing claws his way out of the pier, we cut to Foxy, who we find out is named Renard, calling his boss Black Mask. Black Mask tells Renard that he wants all of Bludhaven under his control, not just a piece of it. We then cut to the Chief of Police Redhorn, who is in his office speaking, yelling, more likely, at Inspector Dudley Soames about a vigilante who was spotted in their city. Redhorn is less than pleased with Nightwing poking around, but his attitude changes when a soaking wet hero comes in with the Min's package. The Chief all smiles, grabs Nightwing's hand in a shake, and then cuffs him while Soames points his weapon at Nightwing's head. To be continued. So, what did you guys think of this issue? Well, we'll go in reverse order here. Jason, what did you think of it?
I have a couple thoughts. One from the macro level, and you touched on it earlier in your introduction. What really struck me is Nightwing coming into his own character. And I think that's what makes Dick Grayson and the Nightwing character so interesting, is that he doesn't become another Batman. Like, he does things his own way. And I really appreciate that. He's grown with us over the years, and we get to see him start out on his own and introduce the town of Bludhaven, which I knew by name, but I really felt like with this issue, now I'll get into this specific issue here a little bit, I got to know the gist of the city. The art that Scott McDaniel just lays out in that one panel, you kind of get the sense of, okay, this is kind of the terrain we're talking about. It's on the coast. They talk about an estuary, which, you know, with my day job, I really appreciate that. And you get the sense that it's just like, if you think Gotham City's messed up, this is like messed up on steroids. So Dick Grayson is really jumping into it here. You also get introduced to the cops there at the end, and I don't know if they're, you know, on the take bad cops or good cops. They're definitely not Jim Gordon. So that interests me as well. And finally, I thought the storyline was really clever. That I was taken by surprise with the IVF bottles when she's like, my babies are in there. And I was like, oh, that is good. That is clever writing, Chuck. That is really good. Good twist. And I liked his escape as well. You know, you see him and he's calmly going through his options, talking about cuffs are probably too tight. Even if I break my thumb, I'm not going to be able to slide out of these. So you get a whole lot of what makes Nightwing, and a good introduction here in this first issue.
All right. Yeah, that was that twist because I reread this obviously here, but I hadn't read it in quite a while. I've forgotten the twist. So I'm like, oh, there are kids in the refrigerator. What's going on? Wait a second. With the nice bait and switch there. So yeah, Delvin, what do you think of the issue?
I mean, simply put, I thought the issue was great. And I have not read Nightwing 1 in some time, so it was a reminder of quite a few things that reminded me of why I love Nightwing so much. Like, I was recently reminded of it because I mentioned Tom Taylor's run. And like, I hadn't read, I had just been letting them stack up, hadn't read it in probably like 2+ years. And so I got a decent chunk of that run at once. And like, I came to the conclusion near the end of it, I was like, I think Nightwing might be my favorite DC character, like, and second favorite character of all time behind Spider-Man. And I'm not even usually a ranker like that, but the reasons that I love Nightwing so much is that he never gives up hope. And Jason talked about that as far as like, I mean, this guy was basically given that mobster treatment and thrown overboard into the ocean after he was kicked. So he was still like, okay, yep, I don't have a full capacity lungs, but I still got 4 minutes. Okay, let me try this. Let me try. He was going through all of his options, and his attitude was always never say die. So what better city to put him in besides this completely hopeless harbor city that even Gotham City is like, we go to, we go past Bludhaven. We don't actually stop at Bludhaven. So what better city for a never say die hero like Nightwing, like who comes in there armed with a really, really cool costume, a ponytail, well, not anymore, and 2 friggin' Eskrima sticks to completely save the city. And this is the start of it. And like, Chuck created a very grimy universe that was different than the griminess of Gotham City and the insanity. It's almost like just more of a grounded than Gotham City, where you've got those colorful characters like the Penguin and the Joker and everything. And recently, always the Joker, it seems. But you see my point. Like, and it seems like more street level gangster type heroes, or villains that Dick has to fight as Nightwing. So incredible table setter, which has still continued to this day. A lot of that characterization, a lot of the urbanness and grittiness of Bludhaven, and Dick's never say die attitude. These are staples that continue today, and they started 30+ years ago, what Dixon did. So absolutely great first issue.
Yeah, and you mentioned Spider-Man, and that reminded me some of the way McDaniel does the art is just like classic Spider-Man. You have the multiple images of Nightwing going through his moves, and and this is something. Now, normally, I'm not one for art like this. I'm more of a John Byrne, George Perez, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name. Yeah, the super strict anatomy kind of guys. But this just works for Nightwing. Just the way he lays everything out and the exaggerated poses. For some reason, it really works. But enough of me gushing. Jared, what do you think of the issue?
Well, I was just about to say before you ruined it, Scott Melon Farming McDaniel is just cooking on this book. Like, just great angles, poses, viewpoints. He's such a great choice coming off of Daredevil because they're very similar characters in the way they move and through the city. And then you got Chuck Dixon just like at the height of his powers. That guy should be running the Bat universe to this day. But anyway, I get fired up. This creative team is just fantastic. It just comes together so well. And Delvin mentioned Spider-Man, and I've often said that Nightwing is basically what you would get if Peter Parker, A, never got bit by the spider, and B, was raised by Bruce Wayne. Because he has that Peter Parker fun factor, but he has just enough of that Bruce Wayne edge that he is not to be foxtrotted with. Like, he's legit, smart, savvy, tough. He's almost as good as Batman at everything, and except there's acrobatics, and he's better. And it's incredible. He's so much fun to read. And this was a great kickoff issue. Starts with a cliffhanger, ends with a different cliffhanger. Chuck is clearly saying, "Hey, I've got a big plan," and no, he ain't in Gotham anymore. Like, you thought Gotham was bad, this is worse. You know, like, I think it was Jason might have mentioned. You know, you got Commissioner Gordon here. You got nobody. You got nobody. And I love the fact that he saved that little girl at the beginning who looked like she's about 14 years old. And he's like, head on over to Gotham where it's safe. Hardy har har. But, you know, go ask Wayne, you know, Wayne Tech or whatever, or Wayne Enterprises for a job. I'm like, she's like 14, man. What job am I going to give her? But whatever. He was doing the right thing. He saved her. And that's one of his charms, is he saves everyone he possibly can. Street level. And it's just one of my favorite books of all time. 12 Candy Canes. Are we done?
Almost. Pat has to tell us what he thought of the issue first. Then we can move on to that.
Well, I think the guys really said a lot about this one that I was going to say. You know, Jared talked about the artwork. Yeah, this thing looked very nice. It was some 90s to it, but man, I've just enjoyed turning the pages through here and looking at the art, and it just pulling you in, not only to the city, but his movements. Delvin again said, you know, this looks like a Spider-Man movements in that. And yeah, it does. It pulled me into that as well, too. And Jason mentioned that this isn't Gotham, it's Bludhaven or Bludhaven, or whatever you want to say it. But it's like, yeah, he's Batman's guy. So you got to do a little bit kind of a twist of it and not just say, oh, he goes to a different city, gets his own Commissioner Gordon, gets his own thing going on and all that. So I like the twist that Dixon does with him. Now you got a bad cop or something. Something's going on there. I don't know, but I'm interested to find out what's happening. And then more of the gangstery side of thugs going on. The Black Mask. Yeah, he's a Batman villain, but I like to see that too, that Dick can take on some of these Batman level villains by himself as well too. So you can then get to see a little bit more of Batman's rogue gallery just in a bigger side of the family and stuff taking on, you know, you kind of seen that with Robin as well too, that you get that other action going on. Did Dixon write the 4-part miniseries, or did he just...
The previous Nightwing series?
Yeah.
No, he did not.
He didn't do the miniseries before this? Okay.
If you give me one quick second while I look it up.
I feel like...
I looked it up previously. I know he didn't, but I just don't remember who. Okay, 4-issue miniseries Nightwing was written by Denny O'Neil.
Right, and I think McDaniel did like 2 covers for that 4-issue series. I feel like McDaniel got his first pencils on like the number 3 and 4 cover, something like that. But this is just Jared's own memory. You don't have to look it up, Gene.
Yeah.
Gene, check this out.
Okay. All in all, oh man, I thought it was really fascinating take to read and a good one to bring in, I think, for Crusademas, because you do get that action in the beginning. You get a little background, sets things up for the city, and the twist with the babies. I'm like, okay, once I saw the suitcase, I'm like, okay, it's probably like diamonds or some jewelry or something that she's claiming. But then when you find out that it's actually, you know, for fertility, I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Kind of, you know, a cool twist there. I like that a lot. So all in all, good one to bring.
All right. I'm glad all 4 of you enjoyed it. And now it is time to officially rate your interest in the series using the official Crusademas candy cane scale. A scale of 1 to 12 candy canes, 12 being extremely interested and 1 being no interest at all. How many candy canes would you rate your interest in pursuing more issues of this title? And since Jared already said what he wanted, why don't we start with him?
I'll give it at 4 candy canes, Gene. 4 candy canes.
Okay, that's about what
all right, you know more than I gave the Shield.
It's
True.
12. It's 12 all the way. I read this series I probably made it about 100 issues. And the only reason I fell out is because I have a kid. And it's incredible. This may very well be, I'd have to give some more thought on it, but off the top of my head, I think this is my favorite DC series they've ever done, period. And just 12 candy canes and as many bonus candy canes as you want from me. But I want to put this one more nugget out there. If you are a Nightwing fan and you enjoyed this, and heck, I might just bring this to Crusademas in a couple days. So tune in, everybody. The same creative team did Richard Dragon for like 12 issues. They brought back Richard Dragon, and it was just as good. So I've almost talked myself into, we might be doing Richard Dragon in a couple days.
There's a Dragon Dick joke in there somewhere.
Somewhere. Dick Grayson, Richard Dragon. There's a lot of Dick Dragon. Well,
Yeah, Pat, what do you have to say as far as your rating for this issue?
I'm going to give it 12 too. I think I really liked it. And I think because it was a good starting point, I want to read more about Dick Grayson. So maybe Jared will give me that fancy book that he's got there and maybe get himself a different one.
Like alone or nope, you made his intentions very clear.
Yes, I did. Yes. No, I'm going to now, if I see them in the bins or wherever, I'm going to start grabbing more of these. I didn't know what it was.
I don't know if you know, I have the first 25 issues hardbound pet. I got a bunch of them out of a $1 bin. Like the first few, you might end up paying like 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. You might be looking at $20 ish, if you want to go buy them at the store. But with a little diligence, you can find them out in the $1 bins.
And that's kind of the fun of it too, is going out and finding these little treasures, building that collection.
Oh, definitely, yeah. See, I just have to go into my daughter's room because she decided to abscond with these short box with all my Nightwings in it so she could read them. She is a huge Robin and Nightwing fan, so...
You're bringing that girl up right.
Well, Jason, what do you think of this issue? I mean, you sound like you were kind of high on it, but I need to know in your official 4-part breakdown what you thought.
Well, humor, I'm going to give it the full 3. I laughed out loud when it came out to be those IVF. My babies. I was dying. That was funny. Heart, we talked about right off the get-go. He saves that girl coming off the bus, puts her right back on, and helps start turning her life around. That's, you see the heart right at the beginning of the book. Spectacle, you all talked about Scott McDaniel, and we'll talk about more in art, but like the spectacle in the book is just, everybody knows my favorite Batman artist, Norm Brayfogle. Scott McDaniel is right up there with him. Kind of the same style. Just everything looks smooth. The action scenes are impactful. It draws your eyes across the panels. Really, really good. Great spectacle coming out of the gate. Great opening with a cliffhanger, resolving the cliffhanger at the end, and then setting up another cliffhanger in the post. Really, really good pacing. And then art, we already talked about it. Norm Brayfogle's a full 3. Scott McDaniel's a 3 as well. So 3. That's 12. I don't know if I can even give 13 candy canes. I usually give a bonus. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to give you 13 candy canes. This is going to be
precedent.
Wait. I want to give him 13.
Where are you getting these extra candy canes from?
Treetop Tommy gave me. It may taste like Ewok, but it's a candy cane.
It's made from Ewok bone marrow.
He saved them from the Quasar I brought last time.
Yeah, we have some left over from Quasar.
I had a box that I was going to give to a Captain Carrot comic that didn't make it.
I got pissed off there.
Okay, Delvin, why don't we wrap this up? And I mean, I kind of have a general idea where you might go, saying he's your favorite DC character, but we'll see. What do you have to say?
Well, I mean, he is my favorite DC character. I'm pretty sure I have a full run of that Nightwing volume that we're talking about. It's the first 25 are not leather bound like Jared's is, but I'm a traditionalist and I don't need to pervert my comic books that way. Don't you dare come off mute. Don't you dare. You lock it up. Lock it up. But yeah, I have a full run. I have the poster of Nightwing 2 that is going to be hung up again very, very soon in my man cave. And I have had it for many iterations of any house that I've been in. So I have a Nightwing PVC that's on that Jared and Jason got to see when they were sitting there watching my TV when they came over and visited for Crusademas. So all of those bona fides to say, yeah, I mean, it's an easy 12 because I absolutely love the character Dick Grayson. It is one of the few times that they've sort of taken a sidekick whose really only purpose was kind of to provide comic relief, and they have fully fleshed him into absolutely his own character with his own universe, to the point that now in the comic book, you had Superman and Wonder Woman come to him and basically be like, not only right now, there's not even a Justice League dude, but like, we need you to be a leader, like, and responsible for, like, you know, the planet. No big deal, right? I mean, he has evolved into an absolute A-lister. And again, it started here. So that says a ton about this book. And I've already explained what I would give it. So very well deserved. I'm glad all my friends thought the same thing too.
Excellent. All right. With that glowing recommendation, let me just give you one last recommendation from me to all you listeners. Now, we've already gone over issues 1 through 25, but Dixon, McDaniel, and Story did issues 1 through 39. Scott McDaniel stayed on for issue 40, and then Chuck Dixon wrote all the way through issue 70. And all those first 70 issues, now I like the stuff that comes after it too, but all those first 70 issues, plus the minis like Nightwing Huntress and the crossovers and everything, if you can find them, get them. You will really enjoy the story. Trust me on this.
That will wrap up day 8 of the 12 Days of Crusademas. We'd love to hear from you if you're familiar with any of the comics that we've covered here so far in the show, or if you gave one of our recommendations a try. Let us know what you think. You can do that by going to X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Longbox Crusade. Leave us a comment there, or send us an email at contact@longboxcrusade.com, or you can also leave us a voicemail that we will play throughout future episodes of the Longbox Crusade or Crusader Chronicles. Wherever we can put that in, we will sprinkle it in over the coming year. And you can do that by phoning in at 707-532-5269. That number again is 707-532-LBOX. Pick up the phone. And if you're loving Crusademas and didn't get a chance to listen last year, or just want to hear more of Crusademas, if you scroll far enough back in the feed, and I'm talking way back in the feed because we've been doing this a long time, you can find all the episodes from Crusademas past that you could probably listen to, and it'll take you through a whole year of us. And you can do that by looking back in 2017 and all the way up to 2023 and now 2024.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Be sure to come back tomorrow to find out what the next gift is from under the tree here in the festively decorated Longbox Crusade Studios. Thanks for having me, fellas. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope to be able to send a new holiday greeting for the final day. That's always fun. But until next time, DJ Cristados, play me a Christmas jam.
Wickedy, 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 whack.
Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. O holy child of Bethlehem, descend to us, we pray. Cast out our sins and enter in. Be born to us today. We hear the Christmas angels, the great glad tidings tell. Oh, come to us, abide. the king, and peace to men.
All songs, song clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.
Outtakes.
And Gene's like, don't you cry tonight.
I still love you, Axel.
Don't you cry tonight.
There's a milk bone above you, baby.
I can tell time. It's either chow time or fighting time.
And right now, he's not hungry.
Good one, Pat.
That was a good one.
Guys, I just did the math, and at the end of this Crusademas, we're going to have 96 Crusademas episodes done.
Boy.
Look at that. Next year, 2025 will break 100 Crusademas.
Wow.